Hey, what's up guys? John here. Florida's real estate market is in very, very big trouble, and Hurricane Ian is going to ensure more problems coming for not just property buyers, but property sellers. I think that the Florida real estate market is standing on a house of cards, standing with a glass floor. Huge problems are coming. And let me explain exactly why. Over the last couple of years, we have seen an influx of people moving to Florida, in excess of 1,000 people per day. People are being very ambitious, believing that rents are only going to continue to climb throughout the state of Florida. However, what we are now starting to see is prices beginning to fall across the rental market. You may not agree, but if you go to Zillow and you look up exactly where you are in Florida or any hot market, St. Petersburg, Tampa, Miami, it's because you have not seen what's actually happened over the last 30, 60, and 90 days. The market is changing. We are now starting to see price reductions. We're seeing people move out of these expensive markets. Now, if we look at what's happening now with these investors that purchase these deals, they were buying these deals based on rents continuing to grow. They were buying these deals based on low interest rates. What are we seeing? Rents are coming down. Vacancies are going to drag incomes on these buildings down. Insurance premiums are going to skyrocket. We're already seeing this not just due to Hurricane Ian. We've been watching this over the last year as one insurance company after another leaves the state. They dissolve or they increase policies dramatically. We're seeing rising costs going across the entire real estate market in Florida, not just multifamily. We're going to see this, and we have seen this in residential as well. But I do believe the big curveball coming for Florida is property insurance. Imagine what this looks like. If you were to buy a deal in Florida along the coast where Hurricane Ian is right now, you were to buy this deal at a 4% return, meaning if you spent $1 million on the deal, it's producing $40,000 in net income. And on that deal, what you're starting to see is you are going to see situations like this. InsuranceJournal.com. Hurricane Ian turning towards Tampa area and $258 billion in replacement value. Florida property insurance experts have long warned that a powerful hurricane strike on a major metropolitan area could result in catastrophic losses for the insolvency of more carriers. Please hit that like button as well. When you hit the like button, YouTube's going to share this content to educate more people about what's really going on in the housing market. Even here in Florida. I'm in Florida. I love Florida, by the way. I sold my house in LA, moved to Florida, but I've always been a little bit weary about the Florida housing market due to a lot of these variables. Insurance is being a problem. Mortgage rates, people are just buying properties based on the fact that there's low debt levels. You know, debt's inexpensive, or it was inexpensive. You could borrow debt at 3%, and now it's 6.5%, 7%. You know, we're seeing a lot of change happen, but I promise you what we're going to see happen in the multifamily and the single family space in Florida due to insurance is going to be unlike anything that we've ever seen happen in Florida before. Those warnings could become a reality by the end of the week. As now predicted, Hurricane Ian comes ashore as a Category 4 storm in Tampa area, the first direct hit on the metropolis in more than 100 years. Now, if you don't know, insurance, if you cannot get insurance on a property, you will not get a loan on a property. Point blank, you won't do it. The CEO of Redfin came out and said, this is CNBC, I think the idea of this is going to be factored into how people think about housing. It hasn't happened yet. The only people who have figured it out are the actuaries, the insurance companies, mortgage companies, the people who have to calculate the cost of insuring these properties, said Kelman, who has led Redfin for the last 15 years. Increasingly, it's going to get harder to get insurance. It's going to get harder to get a loan for these properties because the lenders are going to see the writing on the wall that it's collateral risk. Collateral risk. Home buyers aren't taking it seriously, says Redfin CEO. Now, if you can't get insurance, or if the insurance is getting much, much more expensive, what does this mean? It means that you are not going to be able to qualify for the same type of deal. Obviously, it's going to impact your debt to income ratio on a single family purchase. If insurance is skyrocketing, it's going to impact your purchase. For example, I was under contract to purchase a multifamily property in St. Pete Beach, which is a great area in St. Petersburg, but I ended up canceling the deal because the insurance was through the roof when I purchased it. When the seller was going to sell me the insurance, the policy doubled. And they said, the insurance company, the broker that I was dealing with, said that it's going to double again over the next 3 years. So if rates are going to double, there was no way in which the incomes would have to climb so dramatically for me to actually earn a profit on a 3 or 4 year hold that it seems very unlikely that I would actually have a favorable outcome. I canceled the deal. I didn't go forward with it. But what's this going to look like when the number of units that could be damaged? I mean, look at this, a direct bearing on the Tampa Bay area, which includes the populated and property-rich cities of St. Petersburg, Clearwater Beach, which is a huge tourist hub, absolutely beautiful. Sarasota could damage an estimated 630,376 residential properties, with reconstruction costs at about $150 billion, according to a report released on Monday by CoreLogic, a property analytics firm, for the larger coastal area of Florida's western flank, including Naples and Punta Gorda. More than 1 million homes could see serious damage, resulting in some $258 billion in replacement cost. I mean, if this does actually happen, the way in which, they're leading us to believe, if we start to see these problems, you watch how many insurance companies leave this state. You watch what happens with retirees that own properties in Florida. There's 1.6 million vacant homes in Florida, mainly owned by retirees, people that own second homes here. What's going to happen if we start to see real problems? These retirees are either going to move into the properties if they own them outright, they're going to try to rent them out, or they're going to try to sell them. But if you're going to sell these properties and you can't get insurance, or the insurance that you are able to get is going to be much, much more expensive right upon acquisition, and it's going to get more expensive over the coming year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, buyers are going to start saying, you know what? Should I pay today's value? Interest rates just went from 3% to 7%. Now insurance is going up. The world's looking pretty scary. Stocks are, getting pulled back. Everything's pulling back. Things are questionable. Am I going to really pay today's market value? The answer is going to be no. People are going to really start underwriting a lot of risk in these deals. There's no doubt about it. Hurricane Ian has all the ingredients you need for a bad storm surge. Tom Jeffrey, senior hazard scientist at CoreLogic, said in a statement, due to Hurricane Ian's slower speed and rapid intensification in the western Gulf of Mexico, the threat of widening wind field bringing damage storm surge increases each day. Many homes along Florida's western coast are at risk of storm surge, right? I mean, this will be fascinating to watch this. He says Citizens has more than 175,000 policies, total exposure of more than $54 billion. The Florida Office of Insurance Regulation's quarterly report shows that's more than 20% of Citizens' total insured value. So this is what I believe is going to happen. I believe that it's not just going to likely be Florida. It's going to be Louisiana. It's going to be the areas that we've started to already see problems. We're going to start to see insurance really, really pick up in pretty dramatic fashion. That's why I do think that right now is the ultimate time to start hoarding cash, like making as much as you possibly can, paying off high interest credit card debt, doing everything you can do to position yourself. Because if we are looking at this and we're saying, you know what, let's say you want to buy something in Florida, you want to invest in Florida, you want to invest in one of these markets, you're going to start to see more distress there. There's no doubt about it. There's going to be more distress there. And for you to actually take advantage of that distress, you need some cash. I think we're going to start to see a lot of people kind of caught off guard by what happens over the next year, the next 2 years. Even Stanley Druckenmiller, he partnered up with George Soros and basically broke the Bank of England some 20 years ago. He came out and said that by 2023, it is highly likely we're going to be walking into a huge, huge problem, just a massive problem. A lot of people are starting to, underwrite risk, right? Factoring in that these problems are going to be coming. And I think Florida is probably going to be one of the biggest problems in the real estate market. In Hernando County, north of Tampa, and home to the popular Weeki Wachee Springs State Park, Citizens has 22,628 policies and some $8.2 billion in exposure. A spokesperson for Citizens said Monday. Citizens on Monday also issued a bulletin for agents noting that the policy bindings has been suspended while the storm is approaching. The corporation's rule states that agents may not bind applications for new coverage or policy changes for increased coverage regardless of the effective date when the tropical storm or hurricane watch or warning has been issued by the National Weather Service. For any part of the state of Florida, agents will be notified via email. Watch what we see happen over the next year or so. It'll be more and more and more of these luxury buildings up and down the coast. These beautiful turnkey assets that investors were fighting to get their hands on a couple years ago. They're going to start coming back on the market. Initially, it's not going to be full distress sales, but what I do think is very likely to happen is coming soon, they will start to come. The distress sales, the distress sellers really looking to try to secure a buyer and get out of the Florida real estate market. That's my belief. I think rents are likely going to really come down. I think rents are going to really come down in Florida. I think insurance costs are going to rise. I think interest rates are going to continue to rise. And people are going to be moving from the luxury apartment buildings to something that they can actually afford. So if you have increased insurance, increased mortgage rates, decreased cash flow, and decreased rents, you got a problem for these multifamily investors that bought these deals at a 3 cap or a 4 cap. It's going to be a bloodbath for a lot of these investors. The smart and savvy investors, though, they always make money because they're buying and they're investing on value. They're investing in core value, and the value investors always crush it. What do you think about this entire situation? Do you think the Florida real estate market is in for some trouble? If you do, drop below. If you don't, drop below. If you want to make some extra money, you can work with me at cashnow.video/money. And yeah, I mean, we already have a bunch of people getting paid out on Friday. It's really cool. You can only work, an hour a day, 2 hours a day if you want to. But yeah, it's really awesome. And it's a copy and paste model. It's simple. Join the Discord channel. I'll leave the link pinned in the description above the video or below the video. And LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok up top. And I just filmed a live podcast, or I just filmed a podcast that's going to be live. I'm going to release it tomorrow. Or today, actually. You're going to be watching this video on Friday. Be sure to go check it out. Subscribe to my second YouTube channel. This is John Williams Show, and I'll catch you guys later.